Welcome to the Millennials podcast, where we don't claim to have all the answers, just a willingness to figure it out. We're your hosts, Jocelyn
and Lauren, proud girl moms and best friends sharing our take on mommyhood. Whether you're changing a dirty diaper, stuck in traffic, or just have a minute to yourself,
we're so happy you're here.
Hi. Hey, Millennial.
Hi, Millennial. Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. Welcome back to another episode
of the Millennials podcast.
Yes, we made it.
We're here.
This is a really special episode.
It is.
Yeah.
Something we've talked about for so long, too.
I think, honestly, when we think back to the days of planning this, one of the biggest things was we need our birth stories to be shared to the public, to other millennials, because, well, A, it's important to talk about it. And, you know, there's an opportunity for other mommies to learn through our experiences.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about.
So, I mean, our birth stories have a lot of similarities, some differences, but why don't we start by talking about what our ideal birth plan or what we were preparing for was? Because I think for the most part, that's pretty similar as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Actually, I don't know.
I don't know either.
So with Mila,
yes.
Today we're going to talk about Mila and Aurora.
Yes.
Because that's where we have a lot of similarities. Layla is her own episode.
She's the most recent baby, so.
Yeah. So what were you trying for? What was your goal with Mila?
Yes. So with Mila, it was really an exciting time. And when I say exciting, I mean a little crazy, because we were in pure COVID times. This was 2020, the end of 2020, when I found out I was pregnant. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of COVID babies out there. What else are you going to do during COVID? We wanted to travel after getting married, a good amount. And
then COVID happened.
And then COVID happened. We're like, well, we're just in this apartment with a dog, which was fine. But we're like, might as well just get started. So I kind of just jumped into it. Yeah. And I was really learning as I went. It was learn as you go situation. And I think pretty early on, I don't remember exactly how I landed here, but I knew that I wanted to try to have an unmedicated vaginal delivery with Mila. Again, I don't remember how I landed there. I want to say I was somewhat influenced by maybe a YouTube video.
Yeah.
You
were watching a lot of YouTube videos.
I was watching
so many.
I just remembered. I was watching a YouTube video of just how to prepare for birth, how to prepare for nurseries, stuff. And there was one person in particular who I just really connected with her, just her approach with everything. And I watched her give birth on YouTube. And I just thought it was incredible. Yeah. And I said, I want that too. And then my journey began with understanding how to get there. I always envisioned it in a hospital, because she gave birth in a hospital, vaginally unmedicated. I'm like, oh, this is doable. This is possible. This is normal. And then as I was going to my OB appointments, I was saying it, and I remember feeling as if the OB would, or actually, sorry, I was seeing midwives. And I remember feeling like the midwives would kind of not snicker at me, but they'd be like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's so annoying.
It wasn't like a full-blown confidence from them, but as midwives, they typically are more supportive about that type of choice
At
than
a minimum,
OBs.
They're more supportive of vaginal birth, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I was, making my way through my pregnancy, and everything was very smooth. Pregnancy was smooth. I was working out. I was feeling great. I was taking naps every day because I was at home.
COVID.
It was COVID. Oh, I was going to my chiro appointments. I was getting prenatal massages. I mean, the works, right?
Yeah.
I was really...
You were taking care of yourself.
I was taking care of myself. I was really adamant that if I was taken care of, then baby would be taken care of, and things would just go the way I wanted them to go.
Zen Lauren
came out.
Zen Lauren came out. That's what I used to call Lauren when she was pregnant with Mila.
Yes.
Because like nothing would faze her. She was so unbothered and so annoyingly zen.
It worked out for both of us because I helped.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
I helped you in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And you're like, I need Zen Lauren right now.
Yeah.
Logic Lauren.
Yeah,
logical Lauren. Yeah, Zen Lauren was a whole vibe. That was great. And then it was week 37. And I went to my 37-week appointment, saw my midwife, one of the midwives, and she kind of paused when she was feeling around because with midwives, they do a lot of manual handwork. So, and using like a tape measure for measuring the belly, not really doing ultrasounds unless they really needed to. And she was doing her thing, and then she paused and she kept poking and kept pressing around my belly in different areas. And I started to get nervous. Mind you, another important thing to mention, because COVID was a thing, Yassine wasn't there with me.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And
I don't know how you did that.
I also couldn't FaceTime him.
I did one appointment without Steve, and I cried the entire time.
Yeah.
I don't know how you did it.
So I got really
and
nervous.
How all you COVID moms did it.
Yeah. I got really nervous. I couldn't even FaceTime him because they had this whole policy. And I'm like, is everything okay? And she said, I think I'm going to do an ultrasound just to double check something. And I kind of started to panic a little bit because when someone says to check something, I'm like, what could it be? You know, so of course I kind of start spiraling in that moment. I'm trying to stay calm, trying to stay Zen Lauren. And then she does it and she says, your baby is breech. Mila is breech. And
I still feel that in my heart.
I know. And honestly, my heart dropped because, full transparency, I didn't know what that meant. I said, what is breech? Because when we think about my process, I never really did research outside of what I envisioned my birth to be. So I did research around unmedicated, around vaginal delivery, XYZ, right? When she said your baby's breech, which means her head...
She wasn't head down.
Yeah, her head was up.
There are different breech positions.
That's right.
So she wasn't head down.
She wasn't head down. And I didn't know what that meant. So when she told me that, I said, okay, what does that mean? And she said, well, we might have to call in the OB. And at that time, I wasn't anti-OB. I just knew that, oh, shout out to our friend Catherine, because she was the one who introduced the movie The Business of Being Born to me.
I haven't seen that.
Yes. So The Business of Being Born is an oldie. It's an older movie, but it goes into the intricacies of the medical system, how moms end up having emergency C-sections more often than they should. I think at a certain time period that was happening a lot more often. And someone made a movie out of it, a documentary that kind of went into that more. So when I watched it, that's actually what helped me make the decision as well, because I watched it and I was like, these OBs, these doctors, they just want to make more money out of us, which I still believe is true, by the way. But we don't have to, to an extent, we don't have to get into that right now. But yeah, anyway, so when she said, we got to get the OBs in or OB in. I kind of got sad because I started to feel like my world was crumbling underneath me in a little bit of a sense. And the midwife, I don't know if it was just that midwife, but she just kind of wiped her hands and was like, you're in their hands now. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like, I didn't see her anymore. From then on, it was OBs. And my next appointment was with an OB, or I even saw an OB right then and there.
Yeah.
And then my next appointment, they gave me some exercises to try to flip her. Spinning babies, for those who are familiar, all the spinning babies exercises, which are just exercises to encourage her to naturally flip on her own. And at that point, we were going once a week, or I was going once a week to check on baby. And those weeks felt so long.
Yeah.
Those weeks felt so long in between. But 7 days would go by of me doing the spinning babies, jumping in a pool, doing stuff in the pool to try to get her to flip, the inversions, you name it. I would keep going to the appointments. I saw a chiropractor who was specialized in Webster's technique, which is a special method of doing chiropractic care to make space for baby to move a little bit more freely. I was doing everything. And I would go to the next appointment. They would say she was still breech. And it was so disheartening.
And you're at 37 weeks. Like, you're almost there.
Yeah. So it was disheartening because I could see my dream birth just slipping out of my hands. And I just didn't even know what to do in that moment. And then I think it was week 38 where they said, we should schedule your C-section now. And
this is bringing back so many feelings.
Yeah. And I was like, really? Just like that? Or just, are we giving up? And they said, no, it's not giving up. We want to get it on the books. Going back to the medical system, it's making sure that you're not kind of left high and dry when you really need it. So they put it on the count, doctor schedules, etc. And I said, well, can I at least schedule it for her due date, which was August 1st? Please. August 1st, 2021 was a Saturday. We don't do Saturdays.
My gosh.
And I couldn't believe it. I got really upset. And I said, can you please just double check?
You clearly do C-sections on Saturdays. Like, if you need to do a C-section on a Saturday.
Exactly.
Like, you're not going to say, sorry, we don't do them.
Yeah. Super frustrating. I got my way. They scheduled it for August 1st, her due date. And I kept working. I kept doing it. I kept doing all the
spinning babies,
exercises,
whatever.
Everything. Yep. Week 39 on the dot, I had my chiropractor come to my house. Shout out Dr. Brittany, wherever you are. I think you're in the Virgin Islands somewhere. I'm jealous of that. I'm going to send this to her so she can listen to it.
Yeah.
She came over. She had already been to my house every other day at that point, doing her magic work. And that day, I felt like I had just kind of surrendered to everything. And she was adjusting me in a different way. It felt like she was kind of just being very light with her touch. And she said, Lauren, you feel different today. I can't put my finger on it, but you feel different today. And I said, yeah, I kind of just have surrendered. I'm not necessarily giving up, but at this point I've accepted that she's in this position and it is what it is. And she said, agreed, it's good on you for just getting to that point of acceptance. It's hard to get there. And she said, everything will happen the way it's supposed to happen. I thanked her. I cried a little bit. I gave her a really long hug. She held me, and I just felt it in my soul when she hugged me. She left. 2 hours later, we're having lunch, and I have to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, this is pee. No, it is not. I said, I think my water just broke.
Crazy.
Because I finished using the restroom. I got up. I went back to the kitchen to actually start or continue eating. And I felt it again. And I went back to the bathroom.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's happening. Oh my gosh, my water just broke. And it was a gush in the toilet.
Yeah.
No messes were made. And I call for Yassine, and I'm like, it's happening. He's like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? And I'm like, I'm positive.
Like, we're here.
We're here.
The moment has come.
A week before the scheduled C-section. And yeah, so we call the midwifery / OB office, and they want to make sure that it actually is my water breaking, whatever. And then
dumb because she's breached. Like, yeah,
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So they go through all the questions, and then they say, when's the last time you ate?
Yeah.
And I said 5 minutes ago, and they're like, oh, okay. Well, you can't have a C-section until 8 hours has passed since you last ate. And I said, okay, fine. So I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to prep the bag more.
I would have been like, just kidding. I didn't actually just eat. I was joking.
Well, I try to be very honest about,
you have to be.
Yeah. So it was fine because we took our time. We told people that we were going to head to the hospital. And
I have no memory of this.
I don't think I really shared any of these details with you. I don't know. I don't remember.
I have no memory of you telling me that you were going to the hospital, or I mean, I know you did.
Oh, I probably didn't tell friends. I think I told family.
I'm sure you told me because I wasn't surprised when she was born, or maybe I was.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah,
it was a long time ago. So we get to the hospital, and I get triaged. I'm in that in between room, and
oh my gosh, yeah.
They're like, "Are you sure your water broke? Because there's nothing else coming out." Mind you, I was gushing in the car.
Yeah.
I had towels on towels. And I said, yeah, I'm positive. I literally was like, you want to look? And they looked. And they're like, yeah, no. I was pissed because I didn't know what they were going to do if they really thought that my water didn't break. I don't know, whatever. Then everything's getting scheduled. People are coming in and out. I was, I think, scheduled for maybe 8 p.m. or 10 p.m. I don't remember exactly. No, 8 p.m. And then a woman comes in and she's screaming in the worst pain ever, which kind of scared me a little bit. I don't know why, but it did. And then they were like, we're so sorry. She needs to go before you. And so I was
you're like, yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, exactly. And at that point, I wasn't really having contractions or wasn't really laboring. So I was like, sure, go for it. And as soon as I said that, within 30 minutes, the contractions started. And I was like, oh, okay, this is what everyone talks about. And anyway, I didn't labor that long before I was in the operating room. Everything went smoothly. Mila arrived, and it was honestly the perfect C-section delivery. One of the midwives ended up being there who I really vibed with. She helped advocate for me in the operating room.
Because your doula couldn't be there.
That's right. My doula couldn't be there, unfortunately. She had something come up with her son, and I don't think she was going to even be able to get into the hospital anyway because of COVID. And yeah, I mean, everything went really smoothly, but I couldn't shake the sadness of not having the birth that I wanted to have.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of the summarized version of Mila's birth story. Was your birth story with Aurora similar?
So,
well, no, because she wasn't COVID.
Yeah, no, very different. I'm like, oh, they're so similar. They're actually not. So as we're talking about this, I feel like when I became pregnant with Aurora, I pretty early on knew that I wanted to have an unmedicated vaginal birth. I watched a lot of this show called The Birth Story on TLC growing up. Like,
I've heard of it.
I don't know why. Probably through me. I watched so much of that show, and I just resonated with water births, unmedicated births so much that growing up, it's always what I wanted. Anytime I thought about giving birth, I'm like, I want to just let my body do its thing. And I think when I became pregnant with Aurora and we, were like, okay, yeah, this is what I want to do. If I have to get an epidural, I will, because, in order, you of all people know, in order to have an unmedicated birth, you got to prepare.
Yeah.
You got to like mentally prepare, physically prepare. But I was like, okay, I kind of felt like we wanted it to be this redemptive experience, right? Like, okay, Lauren couldn't do it, but I'm going to do it. She's on my side. We're going to do this.
I'm going to help her achieve this
goal.
Yeah.
Like, they, again, Aurora and Mila had the same due date.
August 1st.
August 1st. And so
I was like, do it for me.
I know,
please.
Exactly. And so obviously I get pregnant around the same time, tell you around the same time, just 3 years later. And then I start having a vastly different pregnancy.
Oh, yeah. Oof.
From the jump, I am immediately sick. I can't keep anything down. I have zero craving. I only have food aversions to everything. I couldn't even keep water down for a long time.
That's how I knew it was really bad.
It was rough. And everyone would say, after those 12 weeks, it's going to get better. After those 12 weeks, it's going to get better. It did not. I became anemic. I was losing weight early on. Plus, I'm older. I didn't know that it was clear, but now knowing what I know, it was clear I was going to end up in maternal fetal medicine or high risk, right? The high risk doctor. I had to get multiple glucose tests. All of the crappy parts of being pregnant, I had to do a bunch of times because they needed to make sure I was okay. They needed to make sure baby was okay. Figuring out why I was so sick. I was only seeing the midwives at my practice because of what I wanted. At the 20-week scan, they were like, okay, you need to go to maternal fetal medicine to get your 20-week scan, and then you'll come back to us. Like, if all looks well in your anatomy scan, you'll come back to us. So that's what I was thinking. They said to me, they just have better cameras there. And I was like, okay, great. In my mind, everything is going to go normal after that. And then I go to my 20-week scan, and then they're like, okay, now we're going to schedule you for whenever it is that you go again for high risk. And I was like, wait, I thought I was heading back to my OB. And they're like, oh no, once you come here, you're not leaving. Once you're under our care, we supervise you. You still go to your OB, but we supervise you. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think anything of it or that would affect anything. So now I'm seeing two people, right? I'm seeing my OB and I'm seeing maternal fetal medicine to get scans for baby every month-ish at that point in time at 20 weeks. And then I go to probably my 30-week appointment and they're like, she's not growing as much as we want her to be. And then that opens a whole nother bag of worms, right? And I'm like, well, duh, I still can't keep anything down. At my baby shower, I didn't eat anything. We picked foods that maybe I could eat.
I just have a flashback to us planning the menu with Katie and Claudia, and you were like, none of that sounds good.
Yeah, I was like, none of that sounds appealing. You guys picked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you guys picked stuff that you thought I would eat, and then I didn't eat anything. Like,
Nothing.
Not one bite of food. I had a mocktail, and that was it. And so I'm like, okay. And they're like, well, we're worried that she's growth restricted. And I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean? And they're like, oh, we're worried that their placenta isn't functioning, blah, 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 blah. And, if I wasn't so adamant on the kind of birth that I wanted to have, I probably would have just let it go and been like, okay, because at that point at like 37 or 38 weeks, they wanted me to have a C-section. I probably would have been like, okay, like at that point, I'll have a C-section. But I was like, well, do you have proof that my placenta isn't working? Because I'm only 4'9".
You're like, show me the receipts.
I'm only 4'9". I was 5 pounds when I was born. My husband's family they're all small. Mm-hmm. Like, what, like, and they're like, well, no, your placenta's working fine, but, you know, it might work, it might not work. They don't know. And I get it because, and this is why I always tell moms, right? You have to get into your intuition.
Absolutely.
Because I think it would have been really easy for me to get scared. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I am small. Mm-hmm. I am small. My baby is small.
Yeah.
And the issue with growth restriction is your placenta seems to be working fine until it's not. And it is a risk. It is a risk that you take, right? If you think your baby might be growth restricted. But I was like, I feel confident about this, right? Like I felt good about that. And I was like, I'm going to continue. At that point in time, I knew they were probably going to want to induce me. And I was like ready to fight that battle later. But I was like, I'm still going to prepare for the birth that I want. Mm-hmm. And I started going to hypnobirthing. If anybody has heard me talk about giving birth, I am like all about hypnobirthing.
You need to do an episode just on hypnobirthing.
You need to do an episode just on hypnobirthing. So my cousin had done hypnobirthing and stuff like that. She and I had talked about it. I found a program that did hypnobirthing out in Loudoun County in person because people had just gotten used to doing things virtually, and I really wanted an in-person class. And so Steve and I every single week would drive out to Loudoun County. It was an hour-long drive from DC, more than that, to take a hypnobirthing class. Shout out to Caroline at the Birth and Baby Body Center out in Loudoun County. Shout out. Amazing. She helped me feel so confident in my choices. And, you know, hypnobirthing is all about getting in the right headspace, and they give you meditations and walk you through the process and all of this other stuff. So I'm like doing hypnobirthing, and then I hit probably my 34-week appointment. I also did acupuncture nonstop. Shout out to Dr. Ian, my acupuncturist.
Did you do acupuncture the whole pregnancy?
The whole pregnancy. Mm-hmm. I started acupuncture in my first trimester, and it was the only time I could eat was after I did acupuncture. Another episode on acupuncture. Yeah. And so I hit my 34-week appointment, and they're like, she's breech.
Did they even ease into it?
So, you know, when you go to maternal fetal medicine, you like have a different relationship with the techs because you see them so often.
So it's
and you have like your favorites and stuff like that. And so I don't know if I had seen this woman before, but I saw her multiple times, and she was like, "Oh, mama, baby's breech." But at that point, you're still early.
Yeah, you had time.
She was transverse, and they were like, "This is a good position." Blah 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 blah. So I'm like, okay, we're moving this baby down.
Did you panic? Because of me? Because of what I went through with Mila?
I did. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
But I was like, we can move her. This will get fixed because I had your resources plus my resources. Mm-hmm. We can do this. No issue. So I start really going to acupuncture. And she starts doing this thing called moxa, where it's like this, like,
oh
these,
yeah, I remember
and
now.
you do them on your feet. She gave me some to like, take home so that Steve would do it.
Some woo woo stuff,
and we flip her.
She
ends up head down, and I'm like, dope. I'm going to maternal fetal medicine every week. Cool. Okay, she's head down. Good. We're still talking about her growth. She's growing, just not as much as they would like her to. You know, I'm continuously advocating that she's fine. And then I hit 37 weeks, and she flips back, and she's breech again. And that's when our similarities just started to really align.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we can still flip her. Because there was no Zen Jocelyn.
Oh, no.
During pregnancy. I had so many emotions. I had so much anger. I felt so much resentment that anger is not a feeling that I feel normally. I'm very good at working through anger and frustration, and I just couldn't do that when I was pregnant. So I was not in a good place mentally. And so I'm like, okay, no, I couldn't be like, I'm going to give up, whatever. I needed one way or another. And I wasn't ready to give up on unmedicated vaginal birth. Even though I already knew it was going to be an even bigger challenge because it was going to be a big fight to let me get to my due date and not be induced beforehand. So, I try for a couple weeks. I'm doing the acupuncture, and every night I would feel like she'd turn and then she'd get stuck. And then we'd have to, by the morning, I could feel her head up here again.
I remember that being so hard, where we would go to sleep and we would wake up and touch the belly just to see, maybe. And then we would have those moments of, she flipped. And then.
Yeah. Or I'd touch myself and I'd be like, maybe it's her butt this time.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not her head. Like, no, girl.
That's tough.
It was homegirl's head. I go to my 39-week appointment, and as I'm walking out the door at that point, I'm so uncomfortable. I'm like feeling so bad. My mother-in-law had come to town because I had a C-section scheduled. Gosh, now I don't even remember when it was. But it was like 39 in 3 days. And I was like so over being pregnant. And I turned to my mom had come and they were trying to make me eat. And I just couldn't keep anything down. And I turned to my mother-in-law and I go, si me dicen que la tenga hoy, la voy a tener. Mind you, Steve was in the office. He was at work. My mom was going to the appointment with me. And I was like, I just can't be pregnant anymore. Like, get this baby out of me. I'm go, we're having a great appointment. And at that point, I accepted a C-section.
Yeah.
I wasn't super happy about it, but I had accepted it. And we go to the appointment and they check on baby and they're like, she's still small, but she's okay. And then the doctor comes in and he's like, so I want you to have this baby tomorrow. And I was like, okay. And he was like, because the reason I was scheduled for 39.3 was because the scheduling people had told me that they didn't have any availability.
I hate that.
Because I was going to do 39.0. We don't have any availability. And so he was like, I don't know why they send you to me if they're not going to take my recommendation. And he was pissed.
Oh.
And he had been pretty understanding the whole time. Maternal fetal medicine sees a lot of really tough things. And so I think in their world, I was a little bit of an easier case. And so he was like, if you're down, I want to schedule you for the first C-section in the morning. And at that point, I had met an OB that I really liked, and I had my C-section scheduled with him. So I ended up having it with an OB that I didn't know, which ended up being fine. And so I'm like, okay, we're having a baby tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And my mom was like, be careful what you wish for. You left the house, get this baby out. And now tomorrow you're going to have this baby. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I call Steve and I'm like, baby's coming tomorrow. And he's like, what do you mean baby's coming tomorrow? And I'm like, baby's coming tomorrow. They want me to have baby tomorrow. And then this excitement kicks in.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was like, okay, I'm meeting my baby. We're doing this. We go to bed. I can't sleep. We're like so jittery. Get up. We had to be at the hospital like 4 or 5 in the morning. We arrive. Because of your experience with a doula, I had gone with a doula practice that was a team approach. And so I wasn't working with a specific doula, but I knew someone was coming. And Steve and I are sitting there and we're like, we paid all this money. What's the point of having a doula?
Oh, for a C-section.
For a C-section.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. The doula gets there. Shout out to DC birth doulas, man. They were also amazing. But our doula gets there and she's like, okay, we're having a C-section. I know this isn't what you wanted. Like, but walk me through what can we do to make it as close to what you want as possible. And I'm like, I don't want her wiped. I want immediate skin to skin. And I'm walking her through everything. She's like, don't worry. We'll make that happen. The nurses were amazing. We are all high energy, chatting, having a blast. OB comes in and I'm like, how you feeling, girl? Like, you feeling good? And she's like, I'm good. Are you good? And I'm like, all right, let's do this. And then,
You're like hyping everyone up.
Yeah, I'm like, let's go. A former cheerleader. I'm like, LATSGO, let's go. Let's have this baby. Come on, Aurora. And I had my playlist ready, right? I was listening to my hypnobirthing tracks and I knew what I wanted to play while they were taking her out. And so I didn't realize that I had to go to the OB by myself, though, which I think is the toughest part of having the baby, the C-section.
To the OR.
To the OR. Sorry, What did I say?
OB.
OB. To the OR by myself. So they take me back and they're like, your husband has to wait here. And I'm like, okay. And it's so cold. And I just remember I start shaking. And the nurse that was there with me, because you also have the maternal fetal medicine nurses. You see them, the same ones. was one that I just didn't vibe with.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and then she ended up being so nice.
Oh,
Like, I was like, damn, I really misjudged her, because she like held my hand and she was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I'm just really scared and I really want my husband here. And she was like, I know he's going to be here soon. She was like, hold my hand, squeeze me tight, like look at me. I'm going to make sure you're okay.
oh.
And I was like, okay, thank you. And while they were doing the like spinal tap, she held my hand, cool. And then you also don't realize that like your husband comes in and baby's out.
Yeah.
Like it's fast. So he comes in and, you know, he like, we had been so hyped. And then Steve is like, baby, what's wrong? Why are you crying? And I was like, I'm just really scared.
Aww.
I was like, I'm so scared. And he was like, it's going to be okay. Like, we're going to do it together. Don't worry. And I'm like, do you have the playlist? And he's like, I have the playlist. Don't worry. I'm like, okay, great. He starts playing the playlist and then it suddenly stops because our friend Jenny is FaceTiming. And I'm like,
did she see your location?
She saw my location. And, you know, kind of similarly, it happened fast. So she was like, is everything okay? And so then next thing I know, baby's out. We see her hair. She's crying. Everything is great. They hand her to Steve. And then they wheel me back into the recovery room. So far, everything's gone really well. And then things just kind of change. My body temperature was really low. They were like really trying to have me do skin to skin, but her body temperature was like low because mine was low. I couldn't warm her up. I get like a really bad case of the shakes. It seems like they gave me too much anesthesia. And so like I was numb all the way up to my shoulders. I couldn't move my hands. They have to take the baby and take her to the nursery. And then I start like going to sleep, but I also stop breathing when I go to sleep. And like, it was just so different. And it was one of those times where I was so grateful to have the doula because I was like, she's not going to let me die. Mm-hmm. I genuinely had no idea what was going on in my body.
That is so scary.
And I just remember I couldn't breathe and I couldn't move. And I was like, I couldn't even open my eyes. And I was like, I'm literally paying this woman so that she doesn't let me die.
Wow.
And I was still loopy for a couple days after that.
Yes. To the point where Steve texted me, I think, a picture of Aurora. And I said, I think they have the birth date wrong on the paper.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
I said, make sure they fix that. But then, you know, I was grateful that I got that text. I was very happy that everything went well. But then I heard from Jocelyn and it was like as if nothing had happened. And then fast forward, I don't even remember when we were talking about it. But I said, yeah, you texted me and you were good.
I don't remember any of those.
And you're
texts.
like, I don't remember that at
I texted
all.
so many people and the worst pictures of Aurora. They were so bad.
She had so much hair.
Yeah.
She had so much hair.
She was like all wrinkled up. And I was like, look at this angelic baby. I was so loopy. I didn't remember texting anyone.
Yeah. Wow.
Right? Like, I don't know.
That's the story.
That's the story.
That's the story of how Aurora got here.
Yeah.
And we're so glad that you had a positive experience for the most part.
Yeah.
Until the very end. I think that it's important to mention that, in my opinion, aside from the anesthesia and that kind of scary moment at the end, like in the grand scheme of things, we're kind of lucky with the way that our C-sections went. Because I think there's a lot of moms out there that unfortunately end up having emergency C-sections when you're in the middle of giving birth vaginally. It's rare. It's very scary. Not to minimize our experiences at all. Mm-hmm. By no means am I trying to do that. But I think what I'm really trying to do is bring awareness to the fact that C-sections are complex.
Yeah.
C-sections have a lot of layers to it. There's emotional layers, there's physical layers to it. And there's also nothing wrong with having a C-section. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If you end up having one and it's not what you wanted, it's okay. Mm-hmm. Because I think what we all can agree on as moms is that baby will get here when baby's supposed to get here and the way that they need to get here. And it can be in different avenues, right? So shout out to all the C-section mommies.
For real.
Because it is not for the weak. I don't know how
recovery.
I was just going to say, I don't remember how it was for your recovery, but
yours was rough.
Mine was so rough. I think you had a better experience than me.
Yeah.
I'd like to believe that it was because I walked you through.
Yes.
I'm like, give me credit.
That is true. Yes. Shout out to Lauren.
I'm fishing. No, but honestly, I think that's a really big reason that we got super close, even closer during your process, your pregnancy, postpartum, you know, Mila and Aurora being only a few days apart. It was amazing because you actually had that support system and not everyone has that, you know? So I was very honored to be that voice for you, that voice of reason, to say, hey, it's going to be okay, you know? And these are some things to keep in mind as you end up having the C-section or whatever. I didn't have that as much, so I really wanted you to feel supported and cared for.
And I did.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love you. So, yeah, we wanted to share this with you all as y'all get to know us more through our podcast episodes. Our birth stories for the girls definitely contribute to who we are as moms and our stories.
How we parent.
Absolutely. And we hope that this resonated with anyone who's listening. And we're excited for the next episode where I get into my redemption story with Layla.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, it was a home birth.
Shout out to Lay, man.
Yes. She knew what mommy needed.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening and being a part of the Mommillennials community. If you liked this episode, hit that follow button, connect on our socials, and don't forget to share with other mommies.
Want more? Head to our website, read our blog, grab some merch, and check out our other episodes. Until next time, bye.